Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel or our website. It's in the description below. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a 2019 2500 piece limited edition in stainless steel. This is the Seiko 1970 diver reissue, the SLA033, a watch that is faithful to its source material but upgrades the mechanical spec, fit, finish, and materials. It is still a lovely 70s style cushion case, and it's surprisingly thin. Though 45 millimeters in diameter, I find it wears nothing like a 45. This is a comfortable watch that's only 13 millimeters thick and 49.7 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist real quick, 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see though it's broad, it's not huge. This is an easy watch to wear, comfortable. It wears nothing like a 44 millimeter Panerai, which on the face of it is similar in size, but the cushion case here means this wears several sizes smaller than its 45 millimeter measurement. It's nothing like the Panerai footprint the size implies. You can see down the barrel I have clearance on both sides of my wrist. Over the top, you can still see I've got a lot of clearance on the edge of my wrist, and then you've got the cuff shot showing that this relatively thin case will slide easily underneath the cuff. Now, taking a look at the hardware and the software, the strap's an absolute pleasure because it's a gummy silicone unit. It has a lovely vintage style embossed pattern, several patterns in fact, and you can see on the underside that continues. It is very soft, very comfortable, and an absolute pleasure. It's exactly what you want on your wrist when you've been exposed to salt and sand all day long. You can also see that there's a little bit of a revetment inside the case that allows the strap to fit almost flush to the case, no daylight visible, and a narrow pivot point from side to side. You can also see that it manages to move without any impediment. Normally when a strap is set so close to the case, there's a limit to the range of motion, not here. Now you can see there's a lovely blackened steel minder for the strap, thoughtful to have metal hardware, and then we also have a little buckle that includes a combination of satin finish and polish, nice attention to detail. Now there is a combination of Seiko DiaShield case hardening and Zaratsu polisher. So you have optically smooth mirrored Zaratsu polishing, which is a upscale tin plate manual polishing technique used by Grand Seiko and Crador, and it's been executed on this case as well as this bezel. But what you also have is that DiaShield hardening, which is a little bit like the plasma arcing that's used on Bremont watches. It hardens the face and makes it considerably harder than conventional steel, over 400 Vickers rather than the conventional range in the 200s. You can also see that the crown is off-centered in traditional Seiko fashion, making this effectively an ambidextrous watch. And in 70s fashion, we have this lovely concentric circular brushed graining that runs around the outside circumference of the case top and the lug hoods. Now the bezel. The bezel features a hard coating. It looks like ceramic, but it's a hard coating that's highly scratch resistant. Seiko's argument is that while it's not quite as scratch resistant as ceramic, it's also shatter free, which is one of the advantages of a metal bezel. You can't chip it or fracture it. But where this bezel really stands apart is in its sound and its feel. Have a listen. Seiko and Grand Seiko bezels are the only ones I've experienced that match the glide and the crisp micro-detent feel of a Rolex bezel. Clearly, on a cost basis, they're working magic here. Now you line up that Bezel Pro with the minute hand, now you have a great count-up 0 to 60 minute timer that I actually find more visible and more useful than a chronograph. You'll also note that the watch features a sapphire crystal. That's important to note because with a Seiko diver, there are often questions, is it hardlex, mineral, or is it sapphire? Here it is sapphire. We also have applique indices on the dial, which is a little bit more luxurious than I expected on a basic watch from a company like Seiko rather than Grand Seiko. In a lot of ways, this is sort of a Grand Seiko in disguise. You have the applique indices, you have the lovely start-stop light seconds hand bob, and then we have a matte black base that resists glare. Turn it all over, and you can see the original horseshoe surround. The horseshoe surround is flanking the Seiko name, and this image of the horseshoe is from the original watch. Of course, the caseback numbering as well as signage has changed a little bit. You can see that there is individual numbering out of the series of 2500 as well as a screw-in caseback. And underneath that, as the caseback so helpfully details, there is a caliber 8L35, which is based on a Grand Seiko movement, automatic winding, 50-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, And it does have both hacking seconds and a quick set date function. All of this 200 meters water resistant compared to the original caliber 6105B's 150 meters back in the year 1970. A watch that's an upgrade in every way, but still maintains its period charm and its Grand Seiko and Seiko brand character. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Well, you knew this would be a great loom shot, and it doesn't disappoint. The SLA33 by night.